welcome to another conversation for Millionairess magazine and the Millionairess movement. I'm Amanda Jane Clarkson, editor-in-chief, and today I'm delighted to be joined by fashion expert, influencer, and gorgeous blogger, Cathy Williamson. Cathy started her blog at the middle page because she noticed there weren't many blogs that catered for women over 50, even though she looks like she's in her early 40s. And seeing that there was a gap, she rolled up her sleeves and filled it herself. Cathy is a Dallas fashion, beauty, and lifestyle blogger and a triple negative breast cancer survivor, which is so exciting to hear. When she started writing her first post, though, her blog was meant to be about fashion and styling tips, but has slowly evolved into a mix of her favorite trends and her experience going through breast cancer treatment and sharing everything about life that truly matters. So, Cathy, welcome to Millionairess magazine. And again, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for asking me. It's just my pleasure. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, you have a message, and we've touched a little bit on who you are in our intro, but your journey, how did your journey to where you are now actually begin?
So, like you said, I had moved back to Dallas. I had lived in the deep South, and we had moved back to Dallas, and I there were a lot of bloggers in Dallas, and they were all very young girls. And I loved following them and reading what they were saying and looking at their advice, looking at fashion, those things that I personally like. And so I started thinking, why doesn't somebody, why isn't somebody my age doing this here? And so I called a friend who actually is a friend of my daughter's, and she had a blog. And I asked her, I said, what do you think about me doing this? And she said, oh my gosh, you have to do it. And so I said, okay, can you help me? Because I had no idea I had no idea. I could get on a website, but that was basically about it. I mean, I didn't know anything about, that you needed to get on a platform to write your blog on that. And I knew nothing. I mean, it was like learning a second language,
Yeah, I'm
but
with you.
she helped me. And so I started it. And then 2 months into that, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I remember thinking, well, great. Now now I can't even do this. And let me kind of back up. Before I started the blog, I had designed a line of raincoats.
Oh.
I did it with my daughter-in-law, and we had this line called She Rains, and we were selling it online. And when my daughter-in-law got pregnant, then I got cancer, and so that kind of fell by the wayside. And then I was like, great, I just started this blog, I'm going to have to stop that. And my daughter said to me, no, you're not, because you're going to help women who are going through this. And so I thought, you know what, she's right, I am. And I didn't want to make it completely about breast cancer because there are enough breast cancer blogs out there, but I wanted to show during my journey that even though I was going through, a mastectomy, chemo, radiation, that that you can live your life and you can be positive about it. And I did all that, and then now I bring it up on my blog basically two times a year. I write a post during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I do talk about it more during October. But I also write it on my Cancerversary, which is July 1st. And I want to put it in women's minds that don't take it for granted. Get the mammogram, check yourselves. And the kind that I had, that triple negative, it honestly does not discriminate in age. So I want women to know that if you have daughters, daughter-in-laws, younger nieces, whatever, that you tell them as well, because there are girls as young as in their early 20s that are getting triple negative. So it's sort of a passion project of mine to make sure that women are aware and that you really do get the mammogram and check yourself.
What I love about hearing your story and just the light that's radiating from you is that you've turned what is an adversity in life, could be a really downtime for so many women, into a message of hope and encouragement, and reminding women to take care of ourselves. And because I read on your webpage that you didn't say, why me? You said, why not me? Maybe this is your opportunity to turn your love of fashion and blogging into getting that message out there. And who knows how many women's lives you may save as a result of sharing your message.
You know what? I love that you said an opportunity, because I really do look at it that way. And I think back, to when I was going through it, and I was sort of like, you know what? Excuse my French, but F you, cancer, because look what I'm going to do, with this. And I really do I do think of it as an opportunity. It's an opportunity that's been given to me, and it's a privilege, such a privilege for me to be able to do this, to speak with you, to talk to other women that have gone through it. And I have women that reach out to me and they'll say, I was just diagnosed, or I have a friend. And I just immediately say, here's my phone number, call me, because I'm going to talk you through it. I just remember feeling so alone when I was going through it. And I just don't want other women to feel like that. And, it's sometimes you can talk to people and give them encouragement or whatever, but if you haven't really been there, it's not really the same. And so that's why I am like, listen, girl, I've been there. Call me. We're going to talk about, I have tips and tricks, for chemo, for radiation, whatever. I'll walk you through it. So it's a privilege for me.
What a blessing. What an absolute earth angel you are. And that's what I know these other women would feel, that you are that person. So let's talk about that. I have no doubt that you have gone through, during that time, some very dark and lonely days where you felt really down, you felt the world was on your back. What were some of the tips or strategies that you used to pull yourself into the light, from the darkness to the light, that you share with other women who are feeling that way right now?
The number one thing is, there was a book that was given to me, and it's just a short, it's everyday devotional book, but it's called 365 Days of Healing.
Right.
And that book completely changed my thinking. So I would tell women, and I do tell women, what you put out there is what you're going to get. And do not put negativity out there about your disease, only positivity in your head, or, it's sometimes in your head, it's okay to think, okay, well, this sucks or whatever. But to anybody else, just, I kept saying, I'm going to be healed. I'm healed. This is just a blip on the radar. And it really is. And what you said about it being an opportunity, I try to tell these women, look, you're going through it for a reason too. You're going to be able to help the next person. So and I've had some of the women that I have actually talked to, I've talked to them like a year later, and they've said, oh my gosh, I'm helping, these other women go through this. And it is, we all have to help each other. And life isn't perfect, and life isn't easy. No one's life is easy. We're all going to be challenged, and we're all going to have adversity, and it's what you do with it.
I love your message. I love it. I agree. It's how we look at things and our perceptions. Because I know life is a balance of ups and downs, highs and lows, positive, negative. And what you're, in essence, sharing with these women in a down or dark space is to flip it and see the gifts in what they're going through, and how they can use those, or turn that adversity to opportunity, and share that message. I love it.
there's so many silver linings that
Yes.
happened to me along
Yeah.
the way.
Like what? Share some.
Well, I mean, just the people that showed up and things that, I mean, like God kind of moments that happened. And it was really cool to see that, it was really cool.
And your family unit might have come closer
Oh,
together and you
for
felt the
sure.
love, and your friends, people you maybe haven't spoken to or seen for ages, reaching
Yeah.
out.
Yes.
Start to
Yeah.
see how important and worthwhile you are in those dark moments.
Now, I wouldn't recommend it,
No,
but
no.
and I don't, and I'm not hoping it happens to anybody else, but it was life changing. It really was for me. And I think about had I not gone through that, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you.
Exactly, I do. And, for the ladies watching this conversation, I've no doubt that they're taking gold, and they can see the light that you're radiating and think to themselves, wow, if Cathy can overcome this, then so can I. And that's the real message that we're sharing here today, is that life throws us all sorts of curveballs, but nothing that each of us cannot find the silver lining in and move through it to share a message of hope.
It's so true. It's so
Yeah.
true. And I'm so lucky I get to do it.
I can see that you just love sharing the inspiration. So let's talk about business for a moment.
Okay.
Part of Millionairess here. Now, starting a blog. Now, to be honest, I'm in my 50s too, and I wouldn't have a clue how to start a blog.
Oh, no, I know. Me neither.
I didn't
I
send my
know.
first email until I was 40.
I was about the same.
People can't believe it. I've gone, it's true though.
We didn't grow up with it,
Exactly.
we didn't grow up with it. So how are we supposed to know? I mean, you just have to
Exactly.
figure it out.
But that's another thing that I love about you, Cathy, is that you overcame, what fears, and putting yourself out there. Sometimes when you put yourself out there on the wonderful world wide web, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes you have the other side of that. Walk us through that, and have you experienced those moments? And if so, how do you keep going to stay inspired and keep sharing your vision and your mission?
It's sometimes it is difficult because I sometimes I think, "Ugh, what am I going to talk about?
Yes.
I mean, what am I going to talk about? And a lot of times I think, well, I'm sitting here in my house like everybody else, especially now during this whole COVID thing, and I'm not really doing anything. So I mean, it's not interesting what I'm sitting here. It's not interesting. So it makes it kind of difficult, but I try to incorporate in my blog post, I try to incorporate a little bit about maybe what's going on in my life, or whatever. And I've only experienced a few times the hater thing, like they say that once you get hate, that you've arrived. People have said, oh, once you get the hate, then that means you've arrived. But I haven't experienced it too much. I've maybe had a few women say, a nasty thing or two, but I just always think, well, you know what? That's their problem.
Yeah.
They're having a bad day, or they're not happy with themselves. Or usually what happens is that somebody that reads the comments will come to my defense. I don't even have to say anything at all. Somebody
Exactly.
will come to my defense. And I don't really want to say anything. I mean, I do, but I don't, but sometimes I'll go, oh, that was so mean and that hurt my feelings so bad. But my husband's like, you're out there, you put yourself out there, and you got to take it. You got to put your big girl panties on and take it. And and I just thankfully have not had that much of like hate, which has been good.
Well, I
Because
can see why.
and I do wear my feelings on my sleeves, and I
Yeah.
do get my feelings hurt. And I'm thankful that I don't have, I mean, that doesn't happen to me very often, because I probably would stop. I
Well,
really
let's
would.
just talk about that for a moment. There's so many women that are watching this who would love to be in the space of being called an influencer like yourself. You're a blogger, you're a fashion expert. And then, these are the areas that women can be sometimes a little picky or a little scratchy or, want to pull you down. And they're sitting at home and they're thinking, I would so love to create a business like Cathy. But they're scared. How important is it, do you believe, to be authentic when you're putting yourself out there and not wearing a mask or a facade?
I think it's very important, and I think people can see through it
Mm.
too. And I sometimes I think that I do have, like I run into that where I'm thinking, am I being my authentic self here? And it's kind of hard sometimes when you're trying to, you're trying to put something out every day, or I've gotten to the point where if I don't have anything that I think is important, or I just don't put it out. I like on Instagram, I will not put a photo up just to put a photo up. I mean, like I just want to be authentic. And if it doesn't blow me away or I don't think it's great, I'm not going to do it. So I do think you have to be authentic. And I would say to your subscribers that if you are thinking about starting a blog, everyone has something to say and everyone can be an influencer. I mean, everybody can. If you walk down the street and somebody says, "Oh, I love your dress," or "I love your bag or your boots," or whatever, you're you saying, "Oh, thank you so much." And they say, "Where'd you get that?" Well, hello, you're an influencer right there. So I think anybody can do it. It's just deciding that you're going to, and take a leap of faith. And what's the worst thing that can happen? Really, what's the worst thing that can happen? You tried, and maybe it takes off. I mean, just trying is, to me, trying is the hardest thing. I mean, just try it.
And so
It's
you started your blog based on things that you love. So you obviously love fashion and you love shopping and you just want to share your passion, I guess, with the world. Is that the best way to start a blog or an online business from your point of view?
I think so. I think whatever it is that you love, if you love cooking, if you love gardening, if you love home decor, I think you can do it. I think you could do it with anything. I mean, mine just happens to be kind of shallow, but
No, not at all.
no, I
I like
love
looking at the
cooking.
fashion.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, it can be anything that you love, but just whatever I think it's easy. Whatever you love is you put it out there and just try it. Just try it. And there's enough space for everybody too, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yes.
There's enough space for it. There's no there's no reason to think it's competitive. I mean, there's enough room for everybody. So that's the other thing. I mean, everybody, there are some people that aren't gonna they're not I'm not gonna be their cup of tea, but the girl next door might be their cup of tea. I mean, there's room for everybody.
I guess that's why you're saying share your story, because your story is original, your story is authentic. And if you just stick to your lane, because it's so hard online, wouldn't you agree, Cathy, to keep your horse blinkers on and stop looking at this person and that
Yes,
person and the
yes,
comparison? How do
yes.
you overcome that, I guess, imposter syndrome and comparing yourself to everyone else in your niche and not
Listen,
feeling good enough?
listen, you think by the time we get to be this age that we're not doing that, but we are doing that. And I admit it. I have the comparison thing too at times, but I try to stop myself and just step back and say, look, I'm me. I'm the only me there is. And I'm not going to compare myself to this person over here that is getting, 50 times or 500 times the likes I'm getting. I mean, isn't that crazy that that we're looking at likes and going, "Oh, yeah, I don't have enough likes." I mean, it's kind of crazy. And one thing that I think is very interesting, and this is kind of getting off on a different subject, but there's a documentary out, and why did I just blank out on the Social Dilemma?
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen it,
not
but
yet.
it's really worth watching. But it kind of like, you kind of start thinking about that like thing. Like, why does it matter? Just that's when I have to stop and go, it doesn't matter that I don't have as many likes as this person. I mean, it just doesn't matter. I mean, we can all be who we are. And it just depends if you want to take a leap of faith and do it. I mean, there are other things that you can do too, I think, with having a blog or Instagram, and that is helping people. I mean, it doesn't have to just be about fashion and selling and whatever. I mean, you might be somebody that loves to go feed the hungry, and it could be about that. I mean, it could be about anything. So I think women get to this point and they're scared and they're trying to figure out what to do with their life. Kids are gone. Some women get divorced. Some women go through, like me, go through, an illness. I just think that, I I think this is a time to reinvent and try whatever it is that you want to try, because like I said, what's the worst thing that can happen?
You have just shared so many golden nuggets, and I don't even know if you realize, and
I don't.
I'm stacking them up in my mind, and I hope whoever's watching this right now is writing really quickly, because you've touched on how we measure sometimes our self-worth against our likes on
Yeah.
social media, and
Yes.
then the impact of social media or the constant comparison. But the thing that I took mostly from here that I want to point out is that instead of focusing on you, turn your focus to who you can serve and who you can help. And the
Right.
likes don't matter. It's how many people you can serve. Is that in essence what we're saying here?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very
Yes.
powerful.
Absolutely.
So, along your pathway, apart from your illness, which I've no doubt came with many, many challenges, in business and what you've created here, quite a following, extraordinary influencer, fashion icon, and, you've set yourself up a beautiful business here. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome, probably personally and professionally?
Well, first of all, I think I've never been diagnosed with it, but I am so ADD. And that is a huge challenge for me, because
That's good.
I just cannot keep my head and my brain on task. I just really can't do it. And that is a huge challenge for me,
Mm.
having a business. And I think sometimes I forget that it is a business. I mean, I'm just like, oh, I have to write a blog, and, my husband will be sitting on the couch. I'm like, don't talk to me right now, because I'm gotta have a business. I gotta write a blog post. I mean, it's hilarious, really, that I forget that I have a business. But my brain is just like all over the place. And that is such a challenge, for me. And I think personally, gosh, that's a good question. A challenge personally for me is I guess maybe fitting all of this in with my personal life,
Yeah.
and not like, when my family gets together, and I maybe have my phone out and I'm like, oh, let me do a story. And they're like, I'm sorry if you can hear, my dog is sitting in my lap and she is snoring so loud. I'm so sorry.
Went under my feet.
Oh, really? Yeah. She's going to get loud in a minute.
What
But
is it? What sort of dog is it?
can I show you?
Yeah, I love it. I love animals.
Do you see her?
She's a beautiful baby.
She's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, and we have the same color hair.
So adorable. I've got a poodle under here, and he snores.
I had a poodle. a poodle growing up. They're so smart.
Oh, they're so smart. And I'm praying he doesn't start snoring or go to the door to tell somebody off.
So this one snores, and my husband may walk in a second. But anyway, no, I think it's when, I get my camera out and I go, oh, I need to put a story up. And my kids, they look at me and they're like, stop.
I
Don't
know.
put us on here. I think that's a challenge, is
With all influencers. So I'm going to touch on that, Cathy, because so many influencers, I've seen people, I've been around people, and you have a beautiful meal at a restaurant, right? And you want to eat it while it's piping hot. But
right.
no, they want to take 20 photos and then this
No.
and that. My meal's getting cold.
I
For God's sake.
know.
So
I know.
how do you stop that crossover where it's like it's really impacting your personal experience to being able to stay professional?
I get together with a group of bloggers here in Dallas. We haven't been so great during COVID, but we do birthdays together. We do a Christmas dinner, and we kind of came up with the nobody has to have their phone out. I mean, it's just, let's just enjoy each other's company. And I think that's a problem, because these phones control our lives.
Yeah.
And I think it is a problem. And I try not to do it. When my family's around, if something's fun and funny, they'll let me do it. But I try not to bring other people unless they give me the okay. I mean, it's like my grandchildren. I would love to put them up all the time, but I need to respect their privacy too. So it's, I think you have to ask, is this okay? Is it okay if I take this photo? Or, just put your phone down at dinner. I mean, that's kind of my thing.
And I love that you have such awareness, and that's kind of what we're talking about here, is just becoming aware, because it's such a blend, and so many people now have gone from the workspace to the home space.
Right.
I'm in a studio here, but it's inside my home, and it becomes a real blend, especially as an influencer or an internet business. There is no separation. There's certainly not in my life too. So it's becoming aware of when it's okay, and then when it's time to just take a moment out and be present in the moment. Is that the
Yeah,
message you're sharing?
yes. And I think it's so important. I mean, mentally, there's some days where I'm just like, I can't look at this phone. I mean, I just,
I get
I'm gonna
that.
stay off the Instagram. I just don't want to do it. And I think it's also, I have this love-hate relationship with it, because it is my business, but it's such a time sucker,
It is.
and it's like, after, you start going down the Instagram path or TikTok or whatever you're looking at, and you could be sitting there for an hour and a half. And I think, oh my gosh, I just wasted that time that I could have been, going to see my mom, or getting on a phone call with a friend, or, whatever. I just think there needs to be like a happy medium of how you handle that.
I love this conversation. And I think too, as we mature, we get more present with life, and more reflective, and really see the golden moments that we don't want to miss. Because I remember saying about myself, because I'm not an influencer, but I'm on a lot, as you can imagine, that I don't want to spend my best years looking down. I want to look up at the beauty of the world. Because this is what I find myself doing, and it's not healthy. So I've learned to say I'm going to be on a couple of social media stages or platforms, get other people to help me, because first of all, it hurts my neck after a while, but I don't want to miss the day.
And guess what else it does? You look down, everything's going down. It's wrinkles. We need to look up. We need to look up and back. Maybe we need to invent something that you have, like it's something that holds you up while you're looking, holds you up while you're looking down at your computer.
I've got girlfriends that when we take each other's photo, we hold each other behind the neck and give it a nice pull.
Well, you know what? I used to put a chip clip back there and just chip clip it up.
Now, the young girls watching this, they won't have a clue what we're talking about, but wait, girls.
They will eventually.
This is awesome. So we've spoken about the challenges, but now let's talk about what you absolutely love about what you get to do. Inspire, you help people get through some really frustrating and really, dark moments. What do you love most about all this?
Such an easy answer for that question.
Yeah.
What I'm doing right now, meeting somebody new. I have met the most amazing women through this whole blogging journey. I can't even tell you. I mean, I've met some of my best friends through blogging. I love it. It's just been so cool to meet these women that empower each other.
Yeah.
And everybody's got each other's backs, and it's just been amazing. It's really been amazing. And that's another thing that I would say, if you do want to start trying to do a blog or influencing of some sort, that's the best part, is that you are expanding your world, and you get to meet these amazing people through collaborations, getting on these groups. I mean, it's so worthwhile, and it's just added so much to my life. So that's the best part of it.
I can see you just, light from within there when you talk about that. And that's what I love about what I get to do, not what I have to do. We're on a global stage here. It's really broken down so many barriers where we can't travel. So here we are on Zoom. You're in Dallas, Texas. I'm in Queensland, Australia, having this fantastic conversation. I know it won't be the last time you and I get to chat.
It
And
better not be.
better not be.
Better not be.
It
Yeah.
won't be. Don't worry. I'll be back over there knocking on your door.
Good. I hope so.
But what an opportunity. So I see this as such an amazing opportunity.
It is. And just like I was talking to a woman this morning on Zoom that we had never talked face to face. And we had our first conversation. Oh my gosh. I said, I feel like I've just met my new best friend. We had the best conversation. And I was telling her that I was at an event about 3 or 4 years ago in New York. And it was with a brand in the States, and they got a group of influencers over 50 together. And I met this girl. She lives in California. We just hit it off. And I'm telling you, we talk all the time. Every time I go to LA, we get together. I'm hoping her son comes to college to Dallas. She's one of my best friends now. And it was all through having this blog. So that's the best part for me, because I love meeting new people, and it's been really awesome.
So many upsides, so many wonderful experiences. And it's what you make of life, isn't it? At the end of the day,
Oh
we
my
have
gosh,
our
yeah.
perceptions and our decisions. And just on this, there'll be a lot of younger women watching this who, again, would love an online presence like you have. What message do you want to send to the younger generation? Now, you've got children, teenage children, haven't you?
Oh no, they're way up there in age.
I
I have
don't
my
believe that.
Yeah, yes, I have a 35-year-old,
No
a
way.
33, and one that will be 30 in February. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I don't even know how that happened.
Wow. So
I
time, like, it just goes so fast. That's why it's so important to live your life by design, not by duty, I like to say, or default.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the message that we want to send to the next generation, or your children or your grandchildren, what would that be from your perspective of what you've lived?
Oh, God, like what you said, don't miss a minute. Live it. I mean, it's that YOLO, you only live once. I
Yeah.
mean, make sure that you capture those moments that are really special, that you really do, try to capture them, because they're gone like that. And so and take care of your skin. Yeah, take care of your skin.
Any
But
tips? Any tips?
wear sunscreen.
Got that, ladies? Wear sunscreen. Take care of your skin.
Yes.
Be mindful, especially here if you live in Australia. We've got the harsh sun over here.
Yes, yes. And you know what? The other thing is too, and if there are women that are younger women that are wanting to start blogs, you know, now there's so many women that are our age that are doing this. This isn't just a young woman's, you know, I guess business anymore. You can be any age. And I hope that I and other women my age inspire these younger women to, you know, to realize that you can keep going in blogging and influencing. You can keep going. I mean, actually, the 50-year-old, I mean, it's been kind of nice because we finally, 50-year-old women have finally kind of been noticed, you know, by brands. That we're noticed now. And it used to be just everything was aimed toward the younger girls. Well, it was kind of making us mad because some of the products that are out there for, or you know, wrinkles and you know, lifting, if you use a 20-year-old to advertise that or you know talk about that, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Oh,
Plus
yes.
we have the income, you know, we have the income now. So there's always a space for any age, you know.
This is profound. How did you break into attracting your first brand that where they wanted you to represent their brand? Because I've seen the brands on your website. They're, you know, they're globally known brands. How did you attract those people?
You know, I mean, I've been doing this now for 7 years, and I am trying to think how I got the very first one. And honestly, I think they reached out to me.
I can
Um,
see why.
well, you're nice, but I think they reached out to me. But I mean, and of course, I was just like dying, you know, like oh my gosh. But I think that that's how it happened.
I just what you just said then, I think there's a message behind that message because a lot of ladies will say, well, that's all right for Cathy. Look at her. She's a stunner. But what I see about you is the way you carry yourself. And I think in business, and I'll get your viewpoint on this, is you have a standard, a personal and a professional standard, the way you carry yourself and you show up in your business. And I think that's what you attract into your business. Would you agree with that? Or what is your viewpoint on
No,
standard?
I think that's true, and I think that once you get to the point of you know collaborating with brands, I mean you have to treat it as a business. You know, you can't. I mean, there are deadlines, there are contracts, there are deadlines, and if somebody says, "Hey, we need to have your blog post," you know, we need to review it 48 hours ahead of time, you better have it in 48 hours ahead of time, you know? I mean, it's a business. And if you don't look very professional, you know? So you know, that's one of the things that I had to realize, you know, oh my gosh, I really have to, I mean, I have to do this, you
Yeah.
know, I cannot just go, oh, by the way, you know, I went out of town and, you know, I couldn't get this into you. I mean, you can't do that. So it has to be a real business. You have to treat it like that.
And
And
especially when you're working from home, Cathy, this is where the lines you've got to be mindful of. Just because we have a home business, you've still got to show up and be professional. That's the message you're
exactly,
sharing, isn't it?
exactly. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. And really what you put out there, like you know, it's kind of like you have to watch what you a little bit about watch what you say. And, you know, I mean, it's true, but you have to be, it's like working for, you know, even if you're working for yourself, you're working for these other people too.
Yes.
So it is being very professional.
Yeah. But
Sometimes that's hard.
I know.
Sometimes
Sometimes
that's
if
hard
I've
for
had
me.
bubbles or something, I forget.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I have just so much loved this conversation, but I have one more question if you've got a moment.
Oh, sure, sure, of course.
Cathy, what you know that you've got such an interesting story, a profound story of turning heartache into opportunity, but more importantly, taking the focus just from yourself to sharing it with other people through hope and inspiration. So what would you specifically love to be known and remembered for?
Gosh, yikes. I think somebody that was always kind to people, somebody that cheered people on, and somebody that inspired, especially women, to be a better version of themselves, and just, I guess, gosh, this is hard because nobody's asked me this question before. Remembered for just shining a light.
Mm. You do.
I think that's it. Oh, you're very nice.
Oh, it's
But
beautiful.
shining a light.
The light is radiating from within, and it shows that you really do care for other people, and you love what you do, and you love sharing your message of inspiration, not only through fashion and homewares and lifestyle, but for health and well-being. It radiates from within, and I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Are you kidding? Thank you so much. I've had the best time talking to you, and I just think you're beautiful, and I hope that we can talk again for sure.
Oh, we certainly will, because you've been an integral part of the Millionairess movement, because it's kind of like the butterfly effect. And when you said, shine the light and be the torch for other people, I know our conversation will impact the younger generation. And I think that's what, our role is as women of where we are now. And I just really appreciate you. And I know that I'm going to get to Texas, get me a good old cowboy hat.
Listen, we'll take you shopping. Cowboy hat and boots. Okay.
I love boots.
Okay, and then I want to come there. I want to come visit you.
Oh yeah, please do.
On the bucket list.
Do you love the beach? Do you love the ocean?
Yes, I love it. My daughter was in Australia a couple of years ago, and she said it's her favorite place. It is definitely on our bucket list to do and we are going to do it. I've heard nothing but the best. I mean, everybody that I know that's been, it's their favorite place.
It's pretty special. There's not a lot of people here, but it's clean. You feel free. It's just a really beautiful place, especially our oceans and our wildlife is just really special.
I cannot wait to come. I cannot wait.
Well, let's get this year over and done with. Look forward to what's coming.
2021. Woo! Woohoo!
It'll be even more fabulous then, girlfriend.
I know. I hope so.
And of course, our team will be in touch with you with all your digital assets for being in part of our magazine, our next issue, which is coming out in a few weeks. I'm very, very thrilled to have you involved. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And you are precious.
Thank you. Well, like you, I love doing what I'm doing and hopefully impacting lives.
We're lucky girls.
We are, beautiful lady. Mwah. You have the best evening. Give your little puppy a little kiss and a cuddle. Ooh.
You too. Okay. Thank you, honey. You're adorable.
You too, Cathy, and I'll reach out personally and we'll stay in touch.
I love it. Okay.
I love it too. Bye, beautiful lady.
Bye.